Yep, you saw me. There you go, guys. That's a fish. There you go, guys. That's unreal! Oh, this is such an awesome looking fish. Oh, yeah! Alright, guys, check that out. What's up, everyone? Scott the TroutHammer here, and yes, this is usually the setting I have for my top 5 videos, but this isn't a top 5 video. This is going to be another fully explained video. Now, this is a series of videos that I wanted to make a series for a while. I did one video back in the summer. If you guys want to check that video out, I'll have a link up here. It's going to be a link up here for, this whole video series now because they're going to be a playlist. But it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do for the next one. And it's something that's going to encompass all of fishing, something that a lot of fishermen, a lot of really seasoned fishermen have come to understand, but a lot of like weekend warrior anglers and a lot of new fishermen don't really understand the intricacies of it and the minutia of what involves lure colors, and that's what we're going to explain in this video. Before we get into the video, I'm trying to get this channel to go to 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to do that. So if you could please hit that subscribe button down there, the notify bell next to it, so you're going to be the first to see all the great content that's going to come from this channel. When you subscribe, if your account setting is on public and I can read your name, I'll give you a shout out in my weekend video, and I've got some shout outs to give today. So today I got shout outs for Papa Shrone, Mark Lewis, Brian Hemingway, Bassmaster NMO, S. Morris, Peter McKinnon, someone whose account setting was on private but I watched him subscribe is Brandon Drapella, Sovan Cow, Alan Yeck, Raymond Kirkpatrick, Alex Wiley, Oregon Fisher, and Jan Lombard. Thank you all so much for subscribing to the channel. I really can't say it enough how much I appreciate it because I can't do this without you guys. We are so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and I can't do this without you guys, so this is my way of saying thank you, is giving these shout-outs to new subscribers. And if you guys subscribe to the channel and your account setting is on private and I can't read your name, you guys know who you are. You guys are rock stars. I thank you just the same. If you guys want other ways to support the channel, I got links down below in the video description to my Instagram, to my Facebook, to my Patreon, all those goodies. Patreon completely up to you guys, but I've got my reward tiers really low because my means are really small. This channel, even $1 goes a long way, and it's an amount that you won't even notice leave your bank account. So I'll just get this right out of the way. One of the biggest things that upsets me about the number of lure colors out there is there are so many different colors available, and there are so few colors that actually work, colors that you actually need. There are extremely rare situations where you will find like some weird amalgamation of different colors that will work in one situation. It is so rare. There are so few colors you actually need in your tackle box every time you go fishing. I mean, for example, if you go to tacklewarehouse.com and look at the number of colors available for, say, the Yamasenkos, it's obscene the number of colors that are available now. So where is color important? I actually place color over lure selection, lure size, vibration. Color is a lot more important than any of those aspects in fishing because there are more situations where color will be the thing that triggers the strike, either out of hunger, either out of it being a proven trigger color for a fish, than anything else like vibration, sound, or even lure size will. And it helps to do research or be experienced, fish a water body long enough to know what the hatch is. And when a fisherman says match the hatch, this is something river fishermen and something that fly fishermen, they talk about all the time, matching the hatch, matching the type of bug, the type of nymph, the type of grub, even the type of little minnow that the fish are going to be feeding on. And then they tie on the lure that looks closest like that. And for most fishing, especially pond fishing and lake fishing, the color of the lure matters more than the size and shape of the lure. And that's something I'm going to explain more further on in the video when I start talking about like different species and the lure colors and what matters there. So for example, if you are fishing a river and you're fishing for something like salmon, steelhead, trout, anything like that, you want to match the hatch of whatever bug, whatever nymph they're feeding on. Or if it's spawning season, you want to adjust the color of your bead, the color of the roe imitation that you're using based on the water conditions. That's also something I'm going to explain a little more in depth, but right now we're going to talk about how to match the hatch. It's easy enough information to find online. I mean, it's something that a lot of fishermen talk about, different water bodies. You can do any amount of research, I mean, even a small amount, a quick glance on Google can tell you this, is an area and the bait fish that are available. Most places, shad is the bait fish that are available. So if you're fishing for predatory game fish, be that salmon, be that bass, or be that striped bass, anything along those lines, they're most likely feeding on shad. So shad color presentations, just like that right there, the segmented swim bait, that is going to be your most likely presentation to get a strike on. It's because it's something the fish are already feeding on. They recognize that shad color pattern, and it triggers them either from hunger or from reaction. That's going to be another video I make, but we're focusing more on matching the hatch, getting a bite based on the color. That's what they're going to be familiar with. That's what they're going to be used to, something they're already feeding on. That's what they're going to hone in on and go for. If not, ask around, fish a water body, get an idea of what is available for the predatory fish to eat, whether that be smaller sunfish like bluegill, red ears, or perch or crappie. If it's an area that's frequently stocked, you'll see a lot of predatory fish going after lures and color presentations that imitate trout. And predatory fish are known to cannibalize. So like, for example, bass fishing, don't be afraid to throw around a smaller bass-colored presentation also. But the biggest thing to keep in mind is you got to find out what the fish are feeding on, get an idea of the color they're already familiar with, the color they've already created a habit of feeding on, and then use that color. And this really does go across all classes of lures, your plastics, your hard lures, anything like that, whatever imitation you use. The color matters more than that. If there is a specific food that a bass is keen to eat, keen to track down, in the right conditions, this will look just the same as this, will look just the same as this. The thing they all have in common is they all have the same color scheme. Something I've learned and something I've demonstrated in previous videos is when bait fish die off, particularly bluegill, that's the main bait fish in the area I fish in, bluegill, sunfish, things like that, when they start to die off, they get this chartreuse color to their tail. I've taken crawfish pattern plastics and I've painted the end of the claws chartreuse, and I've treated it like a dying fish. And I've gotten bass to strike on it because it's something they're used to. They look and they see the color of a green body, chartreuse tail shape in the water. They see it as a dying bluegill. Even though it's shaped like a crawfish, the color is what they recognize, and it's the color that forced them to commit to strike. Now, I mentioned trigger colors. Now, there are colors that the reason they exist in the fishing lure universe, the spectrum of colors that you find available, is because they are long-time proven trigger colors. These are colors that, like the sight of them, the colors, something in them triggers a predatory fish to just absolutely go mad, and a lot of times they'll go out of their way just to get rid of it. There are colors like chartreuse and red. For other style of fishing, here's some examples of some trigger colors. And even for jig fishing, rules stay the same. Chartreuse, red, those really bright colors like pink and bright blue, they are proven trigger colors, specifically red. I mean, predatory fish, it's almost like a bull seeing red. They see red, they come after and destroy it. And along with matching the hatch, if you're fishing for bass, a lot of times early in the spawn, like, you know, a lot of places in the United States right now, they're getting in their spawn, those red colors are going to be your best friend, because that red color tells the bass it is a crawfish. It's something they need to eat, especially in the pre-spawn, to help develop the eggs, because crawfish, they're a high protein, high fat meal, and also the calcium from the shells really helps develop the eggs. So, I mean, red color anything, whether it be a worm, a jig, a swim bait, a crankbait, a spoon, a spinner bait, anything, red will be your friend that time of year because you're matching the hatch. And it doesn't so much matter the class of lure you're using, the color will be the thing that gets them. So when is a color most effective? And this goes across any given color. When is that color most effective? You'd be surprised how many people during, like, middle of the night will try to throw like an orange lure, and you wonder why they don't catch fish. There are times where during the middle of the day, whether it be like a cloudy day, dirty water, they're throwing like silver spinners and they wonder why they're not catching fish. More often than not, time of day and watercolor conditions and the ambient conditions in the sky, the weather conditions, those matter most for what color you're going to throw. So these are going to be some general rules of practice for color selection. It's going to be like for soft plastics, it's going to be for hard lures, anything you're going to use. Say the conditions are sunny. It's a sunny day, not a cloud in the sky, nice bright sunny day. That's when you're going to want to throw your more natural colors. And if you're going to throw hard lures, you're going to throw bladed lures, things like that. anything that has a silver blade. And the reason being for that is when there's not a cloud in the sky, nice bright sunny day, that's when there's a lot more light penetrating the water column, even in dirty water, and the fish can see a lot better. Your predatory fish, in ponds, rivers, anything like that, they can see a lot better with the sun in the sky, no clouds blocking it. So that's why those silver blades are going to stand out a lot better. They're going to put off a lot more light, a lot more flash. They're going to stand out better even in dirty water on a sunny day for the fish to see. And those natural colors, because like I said, they can see better. They see things they recognize as food, like these green pumpkin colored cutter worms. They're going to be able to see that and recognize that a lot easier as forage. Whereas on a cloudy day, even in clear water, you're going to want to start to throw things like your copper, your gold blades for hard lures, because there's going to be a lot less light entering the water column even in clear water. This is going to stand out a lot better to the fish because it's a duller color, and you're going to want to use your darker colors for plastics and other lures when you're fishing for those predatory fish on a cloudy day also. Now let's go with the water conditions. That's when things are going to flip reverse on you. When the water is super muddy, I mean just like dirt brown, you can't even see like a foot into it, these are the things you're going to want to stick to, because in darker water, the fish are going to hunt more from a silhouette, and those darker colors, the duller blades, and darker plastics, those are going to stand out better in those lower light conditions, and dark muddy water is a low light condition for the fish. There's less light getting into the water because of how muddy it is. And then also with really clear water, that's when you're going to want to throw again those shiny blades and those natural colors on plastics and other lures. I know I've said this before in other videos, but this is a video talking about lure color. This is a time where it's really, really contextually obvious, so I'm going to throw this out there again. If I could only fish 2 colors of hard lures, hard bladed lures for the rest of my life, it would be a silver bladed spinner and a gold or copper bladed spinner. I prefer a gold bladed spinner, which is why I went with the Panther Martin, and like a true silver bladed spinner, also a Panther Martin, because these are the 2 spinners that will stand out in any situation you're in. Like I was saying, clear sky day, nice bright sunny day, clear water, that's when the silver blade is going to be worthwhile. If it's like a cloudy day, dirty water, that's when the gold blade is going to be worthwhile. So now something else that really matters, something else that plays in deeply to the color of lure you're going to use, whether it be hard lure, soft plastic, anything, is time of day. Now say it's high noon, say it's real sunny outside, plenty of light, plenty to see in the water, that's when you want to throw the natural colors. Anything that will be something that imitates the forage for the fish. Just, really any natural color is going to work at that time. I mean, one of the things you have to remember, especially with bass fishing, is they are a curious species. They see something they don't recognize, like say you're fishing an area where they're eating bluegill and you throw a shad pattern at them. They have to come inspect it. They don't know what that is. It's foreign to them. They have to come see it. They don't have hands. They have to inspect it with their face, which means they're going to bite the lure just to see if it's food or not. And a lot of times, if you react fast enough and set the hook when they're inspecting it, that's when you got them, and it's the color that mattered because of something foreign to them. And a lot of times, if they latch onto it, decide it's food, they'll just hold on themselves. You really don't have to set the hook as hard. They're just going to turn and run with it. But then, say it's nighttime, say it's low light conditions, that's when things change. If you're going to catch a fish, you're going to catch a fish because they're hunting based on a silhouette, not so much off of color. And there are 2 colors that stand out far better than the others in those really low light nighttime conditions, and that is pure black and, surprisingly, chartreuse. Chartreuse is a bright, vibrant color that actually stands out really well in low light conditions. And again, these are colors that go across all facets of fishing, whether it be river fishing, pond fishing, lake fishing, whether you're fishing for salmon, bass, striped bass, anything like that. However, there's one color that stands out in any situation you're in, whether it be nighttime, dirty water, clean water, sunny day, cloudy day, any condition you're in, there's one color that stands out in all conditions, and you should have a selection of all classes of lures you have. Is something that I do is white. Just white blades, white rattle traps, white crankbaits, white jigs, white chatterbaits, white craws, white swim baits. Reason being is that white color does not look white to the fish. When they see white in the water, it reflects UV light. So it looks like sort of like a disco ball. It's shining off all these iridescent purples and greens and pinks and yellows, things that it catches the fish's attention from anywhere in the water, because this thing stands out. It doesn't matter any situation because it's reflecting the UV light. So let's talk salmon, steelhead, trout fishing. If there's any colors that are real specific for them, for like lures that they're going to chase, there are the proven trigger colors I already talked about. Things like pink, things like chartreuse, and that's true for spinners or spoons. You know, make sure you have those trigger colors with you. You know, like I also demonstrated with jigs. I mean, even the jigs, those trigger colors are really going to be handy. And with trout fishing too, even with bait, I mean, there's a reason why they make things in these colors. There's a reason why they're so popular. It's because they're proven trigger colors. They work. But for them, let's talk about where those different colors will actually matter. So say you're fishing in, I mean, it's going to matter more for the water color, the water clarity, than it will time of day, than it will whether it's cloudy or sunny outside, is the water color and what lure selection you want to use for those predatory fish in a river system, say those salmon, steelhead, and trout. Say you're fishing in really dirty water, you're again going to want to use something that stands out. That's why you're going to want to use those darker colors, those sort of like purples, those dark reds, even blacks. Let's say it's sort of middle of the road between dirty and clear. It's a little opaque. You can still see quite a bit into the water. Then you're going to want to throw out little like sort of like brighter colors, ones like reds, dark oranges. But then say you're going to fish really clear water where you can see everything in the water, there's no hiding. Natural colors are going to stand out, those yellows and oranges, things like that. And again, one color that works in almost any situation being chartreuse or white. And for jig fishing, it's going to stand out true also with fishing in a river for salmon, steelhead, and trout. Now say you're fishing in really dark, really dirty water. That's when you're going to want those darker colors to stand out. But say you get to an area where the water's a little clearer. Something that has a little bit brighter color but is still dark enough is going to beat out the darker lure. This is going to stand out just a little bit better. And then the further you go, the clearer the water gets, your brighter, more natural colors are going to stand out. They're going to draw the fish in even from a distance, and it's because of the color. But that's it. Bottom line is, say I walk up to a river and I see really dirty brown water. I'm going to reach for a dark lure, something that's going to stand out in that dirty water. The clearer the water gets, I'm going to go more for the like the trigger colors, things that are going to stand out in that in-between clear and dirty water. And then if it's clear water, I'm reaching for natural colors. So now let's talk pan fishing. Now if there was any three colors I would say work any time of day, any time of year, you know, whether it be clear conditions, whether it be muddy conditions, if there are any three that would be the real trigger colors for panfish, they would be white, chartreuse, and another surprising color, orange. Anything that has that orange on it. And reason being, that orange being a trigger color for the panfish is because they're feeding on young baby crawfish, and those younger craws, they have more of that orange color than anything else. They don't yet get that dark red or the blue of the mature crawfish. They still have that really young orange color to them. So say I get to a spot fishing for panfish and it's real muddy, dirty conditions, that's when I'm going to reach for anything that has that sort of a darker color to help stand out. Chartreuse will still help, but the lighter the water gets, you know, anything that's a little more natural is what I'm going to use, and anything that's clear water, that's when I'm throwing pure chartreuse, white, orange, things like that, things I already talked about. Now, one I know everyone's going to want to know about because it's such a popular fishery is bass fishing. And with all the colors out there, and like I keep talking about how much bass fishing really is a racket, here are the few colors, at least in my area, that have proven time and again to be the most effective colors. Believe it or not, you don't need to go out and buy every single color that exists. The colors that you want to stick to for bass fishing are your greens, reds, chartreuse, white, black, and then June bug. Those are going to be the most natural colors that bass are going to be familiar with, that they're used to feeding on, and will go out of their way to strike. Now, like I said, where color matters most with bass is the forage. Now, I want to show you something here. This is something that took me a long time to truly understand, but the more I did, the more I found out it worked. What is the same thing that all these lures have in common? This square bill, this craw plastic, and this grub, they all have that red color. Say it's early year, say that the fish are feeding on crawfish, It's early spawn, they're trying to feed up for the spawn, and they want that high calcium meal to help develop the eggs. This, in their eyes, is going to look exactly the same as this, is going to look exactly the same as this. That red color is what's going to trigger them. And now same rule applies if you're just trying to match the hatch for the bait fish that the fish are going for. This green pumpkin craw to the fish is going to look exactly the same as this green pumpkin senko is going to look exactly the same as this green pumpkin minnow. It's the color they all share in common. To a bass that's hungry, that's looking to feed on bluegill, this is going to look exactly the same as this, is going to look exactly the same as this. Like I was saying, say I'm bass fishing. Say it's either a really cloudy day, really muddy water, or low light conditions. That's when I'm going to throw out those darker colors, like a June bug. Say it's a sunny day, but there's dirty water. That's when the conditions are going to be a little bit worse. I'm going to throw something a little darker that's going to stand out, something like a red, or something like a green pumpkin watermelon flake. Say the water conditions are really clear, really sunny. That's again when I'm going to throw those natural colors. Anything that's going to match the hatch, anything the fish are already feeding on, they're going to help stand out in those clear water conditions because there's plenty of light for them to see, and you want to go for what they're already feeding on. And again, nighttime conditions, go for your darkest colors, or, like I said, go for that bright chartreuse. It's going to stand out, but also, again, same thing goes for bass. White stands out in any situation you will fish in. And even bass fishing for top water, again, color doesn't matter. Even though they're definitely going off of a silhouette because they're looking up and they're seeing what that shape is in low light conditions, you will still catch fish in the daylight off top water. And if it's muddy water, low light conditions, dark colors are going to be the way to go. If it's going into the lighter colors, the more clear water, sunnier days, the more natural colors are going to stand out. And again, brighter colors if it's clear water. I will say this though, don't let the ideas presented in this video hinder your willingness to try things out. You will be surprised. Like I said, bass are a curious species. I'm going to use bass as the example again. Bass are a curious species. They see something foreign to them, they have to inspect it. They don't have hands to come up and touch it to see if it's real, to see if it's food. They have to inspect it with their mouth. They're going to bite it. And you will catch salmon for the same reasons you catch bass, those predatory fish. Those colors will trigger them, and if they're hungry, they're going for something that's familiar to them that they're going to eat. But there are times where those foreign colors will help get you the bite. I really hope this video helped explain lure colors to you guys. I know there's a lot out there. It's really confusing. This is the stuff that, in my experience and the experience of other anglers that I subscribe to and other anglers that I've talked to, this is their go-to understanding for whether it be daytime, nighttime, dirty water, clear water, sunny day, cloudy day, and matching the hatch, when color actually matters, and what lure you should grab based on the color. It does not hurt to have a very wide variety of colors because you're going to come across plenty of different situations where color will matter with fishing, and you're going to wish you had that color. But I tried to narrow it down to the few colors that really work the most, at least in our area, but also work across the country. But let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. Let me know what colors really stand out in your guys' area. Also, experienced anglers, please in the comments provide more information along with what I provided. If you guys liked this video, if you guys learned something from it, don't forget to hit that thumbs up down there. Again, I am trying to get this channel to grow to 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to do that. So if you could please hit that subscribe button down there and the notify bell next to it so you're going to be the first to see all the great content that's going to come from this channel. And like I demonstrated in this video, if your account setting is on public and I can read your name, I'll give you a shout out once a week when I make that video. If you guys want other ways to support the channel, down in the video description I got links to my Instagram, to my Facebook, to my Patreon. Patreon completely up to you guys, but my reward tiers are low because my means are small. Even $1 goes a long way for this channel, and it's an amount that you probably won't even notice leave your bank account. And that's going to help pay for things like travel. That's going to help pay for things like a better camera and better editing software. Everything that comes in through Patreon stays in the channel. Nothing goes into my pocket. Again, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, tips up, tight lines, and have fun fishing.